Welcome to my podcast. I decided I'm gonna start a podcast since all I want to do is yap. What compelled me to speak today? Well, I'm a yapper and I've got things to say. It's all in my head anyway. Might as well just tell you. I guess to start off, we should start with context. So, once upon a time, there was a little Cinderangel, me, who was raised in a lot of abuse, almost died multiple times, a lot of violence, anger, and even, I hate talking about that one part, so maybe I'll keep it a secret for now, but there's been a lot that I have gone through as a child for as long as I can remember, like 4 years old, been violent since. I can't remember what it's like to have peace or if I ever experienced it. And I guess I'm still kind of working through that right now. I guess now that you have that context, a lot of people that know me and that know that my story tend to ask and wonder why I still have a relationship with my abusers and how I was able to forgive. So again, for context, I'm gonna have to go back and forth to give a little bit of perspective on it. And if you hear my cat, she's very talkative. She's just like, "Mommy." I guess for context, I'll give a little bit of an example, but mind you, this whole thing is going to be a trigger warning. So for as long as I can remember, I've been abused physically, and I didn't know that I was abused, obviously, growing up. I thought it was just very normal. For example, I always go with this one because this one, I still see the remnants of this one moment in my day-to-day life. When I was 6 years old, I remember I fell down the stairs. And so it was 16 steps. So I fell down a lot of stairs and I've made it to the final ground of this, the bottom of the stairs. And I remember I was just little and I remember my view lopsided because I was so distorted. And all I see is this figure, my dad, coming, running towards me. And I'm thinking he's coming to me because I fell down. He's gonna see if I'm okay. But the first thing I remember is his foot went straight into my vision and he was kicking me so many times, and I didn't understand why. I just knew I started covering my head, and all I remember at the time, my mom, my biological mom, she put herself on my body to protect me, and he started kicking my mom and me, and my mom was screaming and saying stop, and I don't remember what happened after, but I just remember that whole scenario, and now I have a fear of falling down the stairs to this day. And it's 20 years later, a lot more actually than that, but I don't like math. So I can still see it, even in one of the clips that I did. I was an actor, a lead actress for one of the musical films I was in, and you can see me go down the stairs so awkwardly, 1 foot at a time, because I fear the stairs. And even now, it's so embarrassing to say, but if I see a pair of stairs, you bet your bottom dollar I am so slow. If you're behind me, literally pass me, overtake me. There's no way I'm gonna be fast. And I have the trauma in my body still in regards to stairs, okay? So that's just to kind of put into perspective the level of abuse I was experiencing. I guess another thing for context was, at the age of 6, I remember, it was probably way before that, but I remember when I was 6 specifically, my dad would hold me by the ankle and hit me with a belt, and it would be the metal part of the belt, and then blood would be dripping down my body upside down. And then I would you couldn't touch my skin. If you touch my skin, it'd be you couldn't. It was so painful to gently caress my body. I was always in pain. I wasn't really allowed to go to the doctor, and I didn't think anything of it because it was just such a daily occurrence that I was I can't go to the doctor every day. It wasn't a part of my mind. I was also really young. And only if I had a concussion, I would go to the hospital. I remember one time I thought I had a concussion. It was just whiplash. I'm fine. And so that's kind of how I grew up, for perspective. And that was a daily occurrence. And on my mom's side, she did try to murder me multiple times. I won't go into detail about that, but nighttime, I have no contacts or glasses, and knife multiple times. 28 years later, how could I forgive all of that? Well, I did. And I love my parents, and I honor them to this day. It's not ideal, obviously, the way that I grew up, and it's not ideal that I had to do what I had to do. A lot of people, when they hear this story, because it is the truth, and it's my story, and it's just normal to me, so I don't cry about it, because it's my life. And it's if I told you that I'm Filipino, it's the same kind of fact, I guess, when I'm saying it. And people wonder how I forgave. And the thing is, not to come off as people-pleasing or that I don't have respect for myself or that I'm what's that word called? Stockholm syndrome. It's none of that. I did go through multiple phases of different things in regards to those, but I really like where I am right now. And it's in a point where I had to talk to my spiritual director about it because I could not navigate on my own. I really needed God. And again, full disclaimer, none of this would have been able, like, I would be gone. Like, I don't think I would have made it out alive from a lot of these things if it weren't for God. So I talked to my spiritual director and I was like, am I a bad person that I had to cut off my mom? Because even to this day, she hasn't really changed, I guess, from my level of knowledge, at least. The last time I saw her, I looked her in the eyes. She was throwing things at me and hitting me. And it would be like cans. Like, I couldn't see because I don't have my glasses or contacts at night. And she would always be so violent at night. So, like, I get anxiety at nighttime. But I remember her throwing, like, cans of food, like metal cans. And I couldn't see. So I would like, try to dodge it, but I didn't know what was happening. It was dark. And then she took one of my bags and started hitting me with it. And I looked her in the eyes. And it was the first time in forever that I finally looked at her and I said, calmly, in this tone of voice, please leave. And I think in that moment, she was terrified and angry and, like, violent because she knew I was very serious this time. I've tried multiple times to let her go, but if you know anything about me, my biggest weakness is family, and I have always wanted one. The perfect family, the kind of family that sticks together, the kind of family that where if something goes wrong, I can go to my mom and get a hug. Except when something goes wrong, it's my mom that's trying to kill me, so I can't go to her for a hug. And that's okay, that's my life. But it's hard. It's hard to go through these things and set boundaries and feel like an awful child. I was like, she was crying. She's like, what kind of daughter, like, kicks her mother out of her life? And I felt awful. I felt awful for so long. But it's like every time she was in my life, I was afraid. I'm shaking. I had, like, high anxiety. I couldn't sleep next to her or, like, in the same room because I was afraid. I was afraid I was gonna die. I don't know. Or I would get hurt and I'd have to go to the hospital. Like, I don't know. I never knew with my mom. And I love her so much. I really do. But I have to protect myself. And that's something I learned was okay. For the longest time, I felt so bad cutting her off. And I hope one day I can see her again and she's changed. And all I can do is pray for her. And that's what I do. But my spiritual director was like, you don't have to feel bad. You can still honor your father and mother from afar, but your safety is first. And so I finally came to this realization that maybe it's okay to let go of my mom and forgive her for everything, because I know truly in her mind she wants to do the best that she can as a mother, and she didn't know how. I don't know why my mom is so violent. It's been that way since forever. And I always think about what Jesus said on the cross. He said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Maybe she does know, maybe she doesn't. But I forgive my mom, and I pray for her every day. I even have a picture of my mom and my dad here from when I was a kid, holding me as a baby. Because I like to remember that sometimes I'm not an orphan. And my mom is a good person. I know she means well. But when safety comes into play, it's time to let go. And I haven't spoken to my mom. We are no contact. I don't like it that way, obviously, but it had to be done. And, you know, her birthday passed and Christmas passed, and I sent her gift cards through email. Made a little note, be like, please don't contact me, but I hope you enjoy your birthday and I hope you enjoy Christmas. And so I gave her a card to go to the spa, because as much as I need to protect myself, I still want to be able to honor my parents, just at a safe distance. So I hope she enjoyed that and got to enjoy life. I just won't be by her side until she changes, and I hope one day she does. She hasn't, from my knowledge, so there's that. And then with my dad, he's been violent my whole life. My whole life. Until maybe 10 years ago, my dad changed. It wasn't until my little brother finally was born. He's 11 now. And that's when my dad stopped being violent. And it was hard for me because I always wondered why I got the violence and why he stopped at this one. And obviously I don't want my little brother to go through violence, but I always just wondered, like, why did he finally change after I'm like now traumatized and I can't go down the stairs like a normal person. And that's just one little example, but I always wondered why my dad changed. And I talked to him about it once, and he said he realized what he did was wrong. He went and did the work. He did the anger management classes. He read a lot about anger management. I remember my dad would duct tape the outside of the book so that no one knew he was like trying to do self-help and like anger management issues. But my dad tried, and that's what I really appreciate. My dad got medications for anxiety and depression and whatever, and my dad's changed. My dad hasn't hit me in years, 10 years I think, something like that maybe. I'm bad at math, but my dad's changed to the best of his ability, and I've forgiven him. My dad is still in my life occasionally. I say part-time because we have our on and off moments, but I've learned to forgive, and I love both my parents. And in like a parallel universe, my mom and my dad and I are still really close, and we're a family with my brothers, and we're like, we spend family day together and things like that, and we have meals together. That's in my parallel universe, but it's not the case right now. That's okay. I don't know what's happening with my mom. I wish her well, and I pray for her every day, and I pray for my dad every single day. And people say, if they're these awful people, why don't you just cut them off? I don't know, but if I've learned anything from Jesus, it's that he said, if you haven't sinned, then throw the first stone. I'm a bad sinner, not in the way that my parents are, but I've got my own ways of being a sinner, and so I can't fault them completely. They're still human, and it's their first time on earth too. I know they're adults, and I know they make their own choices, which is why I had no choice but to cut my mom off, and I still wish her the best. But when things happen like this, I find a lot of people always struggle with forgiveness. But it took a while. I'm not gonna say it was easy, but I forgive them genuinely. I have no hate towards them, and I pray for them every day. And I think something valuable that I learned was, one time, one of my father priests was like, everyone that's ever hurt you in your life, offer a decade of the rosary to them, or the whole rosary. And so now I kind of just put that into practice, and it's healed me a lot. I don't like being an angry person. I don't want to have any grudges. I don't want to be filled with disdain and negativity. I just don't like that. And so even though I'm by myself and I live by myself, and this is the safest way for me to go with no family, I forgive. Because Jesus said to. Of course it's easy to love people who love you back, but I think the true test of being a Catholic and Christian is being able to forgive the people who hurt you. And I'm really happy that I've exercised that muscle really well, that I'm able to forgive. And at the end of the day, if you review who you want to be as a person, I hope anger and resentment and negativity isn't part of that. So to work on yourself every day, little by little, and just remember all the good things and all the bad things. Forget, let go, because Jesus doesn't hold it against you. And I've done a lot of bad things, and I am so incredibly grateful that every time I go to confession, my sins are absolved, even though I feel like some of them I should have been crucified for. And that's the crazy amazing thing about God is that he forgives. And because he did it for me, I want to be able to do it for the people that I love in my life. Even if it feels like they don't deserve it, and even if it feels like it's not fair. It wasn't fair that Jesus got crucified for our sins when he didn't even make those sins, but he did it because he loved us. And so I definitely live by that, or try to. So whoever you have in your life that you have a little bit of anger or resentment or has hurt you, I'm not saying keep them in your life. Sometimes boundaries do need to happen, and that's okay. But you can still love them from afar. Thank them for the time that you had them in your life, and be thankful that you could learn something and move on, and hopefully from then and into the future you can have a more positive future because you've learned so much and you've loved so much and you've forgiven so much. So whoever you are, I hope that you're able to forgive. And if you can't, day by day. It's not gonna happen right away. None of us are perfect, but we can try. Thank you so much for tuning in to my first episode podcast. I got a little emotional, didn't plan for that. Honestly, this is so often my story, I don't cry about it, so maybe it was God's message this time. If you ever feel the need to share this with a friend or family member that you love, please do so. If you're too scared to talk to them, let me do it for you. Just send it to them and see how they feel and have a conversation and heal whatever brokenness you can and forgive and love. Because if I can do it, I think anyone can. And it's okay if you fail. Just keep trying, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye and God bless. Come here. I need a hug. Bella? Bella, mommy's yapping right now. Can you wait your turn? Can you please stop? It's my turn. Please, Bella. Mommy first. Thank you. You're my family.